There are some stories that even after all these years still make my heart feel heavy when I tell them. My story is exactly like that. I'm Emily. I'm 60 years old now, and what I'm about to share with you happened 35 years ago. Back then, I was a completely different person, a cheerful, dream filled young woman who believed in love. But life taught me a lesson I will never forget. I was only 23 years old then. I had just finished university and was working part time at a small coffee shop. Life was simple but beautiful. A tiny apartment, some good friends, and so many dreams. I used to write, spend hours at night with my laptop open, dreaming that one day I'd become a writer. It was at that coffee shop where I met Daniel. It was an autumn afternoon. Light rain was falling outside, and soft jazz music played in the shop. He walked in with wet hair and a smile on his face. Tall, handsome, with a certain warmth in his eyes. I was standing at the counter. "One black coffee, please," he said, then looked at me and smiled. Nothing beats hot coffee in this weather, right? I laughed. Absolutely right. That smile was where everything began. The next day, he came again, and the day after that. Within a week, we were talking. He told me his name was Daniel, that he worked at an architecture firm. Just like me, he was a dreamer. He dreamed of opening his own design firm someday. 2 months later, we started dating. You know how first love feels? When it seems like the world has suddenly become colorful, when every moment feels like a song? That's exactly how it was. Daniel was my first serious relationship. We watched movies together, walked in the park, talked on the phone for hours at night. He read my writing, every word with attention. "You're going to be famous one day, Emily," he would say. "I know it." 6 months later, he asked me to move in with him. I hesitated. My parents had divorced when I was young, and I grew up with my mother. She always used to say, "Don't depend on men, Emily. Stand on your own feet." But Daniel was different. He was caring, understanding. I thought maybe my mother's experience was just different. I moved in with him. The first few months were like heaven. We cooked together, watched movies, planned our future. He told me he wanted to marry me. We even picked out names for our children. Sophia, if it was a girl, Oliver, if it was a boy. But slowly, things started to change. At first, it was small things. "Why do you wear so much makeup?" he would ask. "You're beautiful without it." I thought he was giving me a compliment. Then came comments about my clothes. "Isn't that skirt a bit too short?" Or, "Are you meeting those friends again today?" I convinced myself he was just taking care of me. Then he started talking about my writing. "Why do you spend so much time in front of this laptop? We could watch a movie together." At first, I would agree. One day, 2 days, then a week would pass without any writing. One day, I received an email from a small literary magazine. They wanted to publish one of my stories. I jumped with joy. When Daniel came home that evening, I told him the news. He smiled, but there was no warmth in that smile. "That's nice, but are you making any money from this? I mean, it's just a hobby, right?" My heart sank. But I smiled and said, "Yes, you're right. It's just a beginning." That night, I stared at the ceiling for a long time. After that, things got worse. He started getting angry over small things. I didn't load the dishwasher properly. I didn't buy his favorite cereal. I wore the wrong kind of dress to his office party. One day he yelled for the first time. I had forgotten to iron his shirt. He got upset. "You can't do anything right. You sit at home all day and you couldn't do this one small thing?" I stared at him in shock. I I forgot, Daniel. Let me iron another shirt." "It's not about that. It's not about the shirt. You're always lost in your own little world. Your writing, your friends. Do you ever think about me? I started crying. He didn't see. He stormed out the door. That night, he came back and apologized. He held me and cried. I'm sorry, Emily. I'm under so much pressure at work. I fall apart without you. Please don't leave me. I forgave him, but it happened again, and again, and again. Each time he apologized, brought flowers, sometimes gifts. I love you, Emily. I can't live without you. I believed him. My friends started to notice. How are you doing? They would ask. We haven't seen you in months. I would smile. I'm just busy, spending time with Daniel. But the truth was, I was pulling away from them because Daniel didn't want me to see them. They don't like me, he would say. They're trying to ruin our relationship. Slowly, I became isolated. Just me and Daniel. Then came that night. We had gone to a dinner party at his boss's house. I wore a blue dress. Daniel stared at me with angry eyes the entire evening. On the way home, he didn't speak. As soon as we got inside, he exploded. How dare you? What? You were flirting with Mark in front of everyone. What? Daniel, I was just talking to him about work. Don't lie to me, he shouted. Then he grabbed my arm and pulled me, so hard that my shoulder hurt. You can't leave me, he whispered. You're not going anywhere. I was terrified. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat and thought, how did this happen? How did I end up in this place? The next morning, Daniel left for work. I called my old friend Sarah. I broke down crying. Emily, you need to get out, she said, right now. But I couldn't. I had no job. I had no money. I had nowhere to stay. I was trapped. The next few months were the darkest time of my life. Daniel became more controlling. He checked my phone, read my emails. When I went out, he interrogated me.
One day, he took away my laptop. You're not writing anymore, he said. That's your problem. You're always living in some fantasy world. In that moment, something broke inside me. When my mother died, I had remembered her last words. Don't lose yourself, Emily. No matter how much you love someone, don't lose yourself. I had lost myself. That night, I made a decision. I had to get out. I called Sarah again. Help me. She did. She and her roommate arranged for me to stay at their apartment. I secretly packed a small bag with some things. One day, when Daniel was at work, I left. I left a note. I can't stay. I'm sorry. But escaping was only the beginning. Daniel started searching for me like a madman. He sent countless messages and calls to my phone, first pleading, please come back, then anger, you can't do this to me, then threats, you're nothing without me, you'll see. I changed my phone number, deleted social media, started living with Sarah, and got a job as a cashier at a supermarket. But Daniel didn't give up. He went to my old workplace, tracked down my friends. One day, he was standing outside Sarah's apartment. I reported it to the police, got a restraining order. That made him even angrier. One night, I was coming back from the supermarket. Dark street, orange streetlights. Suddenly, a car stopped next to me. Daniel. He got out of the car. We need to talk. I stepped back. No, you can't come near me. There's a restraining order. I just want to talk to you, he shouted. He started walking toward me. I ran with all my strength. I rushed into a 24-hour store. The person behind the counter called the police. Daniel was arrested. But the case didn't go very far. His family had good lawyers. He got a warning and was released. I was living in constant fear. When would he come back? Then one day, I made a decision. I wouldn't live in fear anymore. I started rebuilding myself, started seeing a therapist, learned to fight for myself. Slowly, I started writing again. Night after night, my story, my experience. I wrote a book about abusive relationships, how it starts, how it consumes you, and how you can get out. I sent it to a publisher, waited. 6 months later, they responded. They wanted to publish it. My book came out 33 years ago, Breaking Free, A Journey from Abuse to Empowerment. It became a bestseller. Thousands of women sent me messages. Your story gave me courage, they wrote. Because of you, I got out. Daniel found out. He tried to message me again, but I didn't respond. One day I heard he was engaged to someone else. My heart ached. Not for him, for the new woman. I knew what she would go through. I found out her name, sent her a copy of my book, wrote a note. You're not alone. If you ever need help, I'm here. A few months later, she messaged me. I read your book. I understand now. I got out. Thank you. That was my revenge. I didn't destroy Daniel. I didn't let myself be destroyed. I built myself up, and in the process, I helped others. Today, I'm 60 years old, sitting here in my living room, looking back at that frightened 23-year-old girl. I feel such tenderness for her. She didn't know how strong she was. She didn't know she would survive. After my book was published, I started speaking at different places. Colleges, community centers, women's shelters. Every time I stood on that stage, I saw the faces of women just like me, frozen in fear, hope lost, but still searching for a faint light somewhere. Once a young woman came to me after a speech. She must have been 19 or 20. Mascara smudged around her eyes, hands shaking. She whispered, "My boyfriend is like that too. He says I make him angry. My clothes, my friends, everything is a problem. I thought it was normal, but hearing your story, I realize it's not normal." I held her hand. No, it's not normal, and you're not obligated to endure it. She started crying. I hugged her. In that moment, I understood that my writing, my story, it all had meaning. But to be honest, it wasn't easy. Even after getting out, for many days I saw Daniel in my dreams. I would wake up drenched in sweat. Sometimes when I heard footsteps behind me on the street, my heart would race, thinking it might be him. Therapy helped me a lot. Dr. Martinez, my therapist, taught me how to process trauma. "Emily," she would say, "what happened to you is not your identity. It's your experience. You're a survivor, not a victim." I reminded myself of those words every day. Sarah was my rock. Not for one day did she make me feel like a burden. When I had nightmares and woke up in the middle of the night, she would make tea. We would sit on the couch and watch old sitcoms until dawn. "You know," she said one day, "you're one of the strongest people I know." I smiled. "I don't feel strong. You were broken, but you got back up. That's strength, Emily." Slowly, I found myself again, the girl I was as a child, who dreamed, who wrote, who laughed. That girl started to come back. I joined a writing workshop. There, I met Mr. Thompson, an experienced writer. He read my work and said, "This has raw emotion, honesty. It's good." With his encouragement, I wrote more. After the first book, I started writing fiction, a story about a woman who journeys from darkness to light, much like my own story, but in a different package. The second book was published 32 years ago, Shadows and Light. It also received good response. These days, well, for the past 30 years really, I've been working with a nonprofit organization that helps women who are victims of domestic violence. I teach them writing workshops. Tell your story, I tell them. Don't let your voice be lost. It gives me peace, knowing that my pain, my experience, it all has meaning. It's helping others. Sometimes I wonder, will Daniel ever understand what he did? Will he ever be remorseful? Probably not, but that's not important anymore. My healing doesn't depend on his remorse. Last year, yes, even at my age, I still go to these things. I went to an art gallery. There was an exhibition, Resilience, Art of Survival, works by different artists who dealt with trauma, loss, and rebirth. One painting caught my eye. A woman with broken wings, but she was trying to fly. The caption read, "Broken but flying." I stood in front of that painting for a long time. It was like it captured my life. I was broken, but I learned to fly. Now, my life isn't perfect. Some days are very difficult. Some days I don't want to get out of bed. But I move forward because I know I'm not alone, and my story still has many chapters left. Last month at an event, a young journalist interviewed me. She asked, "If you could give a message to yourself 35 years ago, what would it be?" I thought for a moment. Then I said, I would tell her, "You're much stronger than you think. This darkness will end, and when the light comes, you'll understand why you had to endure so much pain. It wasn't to break you, but to build you." The journalist smiled and said, "Beautiful." But it's not just beautiful words. It's the truth. I'm Emily. I'm 60 years old now. From 23 to 60, in these 37 years, I've built a new life. A life that's mine, where no one can control me, diminish my dreams, or silence my voice. My revenge was success, but not fame or money. It was reclaiming myself. Sometimes at night when I sit with my cat Luna beside me, yes, she's still with me, or rather this is Luna the third, typing on my laptop with a cup of tea in hand, I smile because I know I did it. I'm alive. I'm writing. I'm dreaming. And most importantly, I learned to love myself. Daniel took a lot from me. My confidence, my freedom, my laughter. But one thing he couldn't take? My willpower. That willpower kept me alive. Today, when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a different woman. There's no fear in these eyes anymore. There's determination. There's a smile on my face. But behind that smile is a story of struggle, a story of survival. I have scars, some visible, some invisible, but I don't hide them in shame. They're my medals. Prove that I fought and I won. You might think this is a sad story, but no, this is a survival story, a resurrection story. Because I didn't die, I woke up. I'm telling you this story because somewhere out there, right now, a young woman is in the situation I was in. She's thinking, she can't get out, thinking this is her fate. I want to tell her, you can. Get out. You have value. Your dreams matter. Your voice needs to be heard. And remember, revenge doesn't mean hurting others. Revenge means lifting yourself so high that those who try to pull you down can't even touch you. My story isn't finished. It's still being written. Every day, a new page. Some days are difficult. Some days are beautiful. But every day is mine. And that's enough. I'm Emily. I'm a writer, a survivor, a dreamer. My story is like many others, but it's mine. And I'm proud that I can tell it. If any of you ever find yourself in such a situation, remember, you're not alone. Help is available. Hope exists. And most importantly, the strength you have inside you, you don't know it until you have to use it.